Morning students, how are you all? I hope all of you are doing well. A hearty welcome to today's English class. In the last class, we started the fourth lesson from the movements in the kingdom of force. Let us have a quick review of what we have learned. One day, a thief broke into a merchant's house, and the wall was very weak. It collapsed and he died on the spot. His brother went and complained to the king that justice should be done to his brother's family. So he blamed the merchant that because he built a weak wall, that it fell on his brother and killed him. So the king called the rich merchant and asked him about it, and he blamed the bricklayer who was very careless in building the wall. And the bricklayer was called, and the bricklayer blamed the dancing girl who distracted him while he was building the wall. And the dancing girl was called into the kingdom, and she blamed that it was because of the goldsmith who failed to give her the jewelry that was given to him for her, and he made her to walk up and down many times. And the goldsmith was called to the kingdom, and he blamed that it is because of the rich merchant who had given him some gold for making jewelry, and he continuously disturbed him, asking him to get it back. So because of that, he asked the dancing girl to come different times, come today, tomorrow, like that, asked her many times to come, and it was the rich merchant who has to be blamed. Finally, the king called the rich merchant, and he said it was not because of him. The house was built during his father's time, and he is to be blamed, and he is no more, he is dead. And the king said, whatever he inherited from his father, he has inherited his riches and also his sin, so he has to bear the punishment. And a stake was prepared to execute him, and they found that the stake was fit for a fat man, and this merchant was very thin. So the king ordered that the servants should go into the kingdom and find out a fat man. And finally they found out the disciple who was only eating and filling his stomach plenty, and eating plenty, and made him very fat. And he was caught by the servants, and he was brought to the kingdom. So far we have studied, and now students take page number 24. What have I done wrong? I am innocent. I am a sannyasi, he cried. That may be true, but it is the royal decree that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake, they said, and carried him to the place of execution. So now the disciple was very much worried, and he asked the officials, what have I done wrong? I am innocent. He pleaded that he was very innocent, he is a sannyasi. That may be true, but the servants, the officials of the king said that that may be true, but it is a royal decree. It is a king's decree that they should find a man, a fat man fit the stake, and they carried him to the kingdom for execution. He remembered his wise guru's words, this is a city of fools, you don't know what they will do next. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his Guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. Now he remembered, since he was in a dangerous situation, he remembered his Guru's words. Guru, before leaving, he said that this is a city of fools. You don't know what they will do next. So he remembered his words because the Guru insisted the disciple to go away from that kingdom. It is dangerous to stay back. Now he realized that what the Guru said was true. So while he was waiting for death, he prayed to his Guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. The Guru saw everything in a vision. He had magic powers. He could see far and he could see the future as he could see the present and the past. He arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into such a scrape through love of food. So now the Guru heard his cry because he had magical powers. From far he could hear his cry, and he had a vision that his disciple was in trouble. So he came to him. He could see, he arrived at once, he arrived to save his disciple. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. So, who had got himself into a scrape? Scrape means a difficult situation. This disciple was in a difficult situation. That is why the Guru came as soon as he heard the prayer of his disciple. And he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. Then he went to the king and addressed him, O wisest of kings, who is greater, the Guru or the disciple? Of course, the Guru. No doubt about it. Why do you ask? So, as soon as he came, he scolded the disciple and he said something, whispering to him in his ears. Now he went to the king and he addressed the king, O wisest of kings, who is greater? He wanted to get the opinion of the king, who is the greater, the Guru or the disciple. And the king answered that, of course, it is the Guru. And he asked, why do you ask? Then put me to the stake first, put my disciple to death after me. So they were actually arguing, the Guru and the disciple. The Guru said, you put me to death first and then the disciple. But the disciple was asking, you put me to death first and then the Guru. When the disciple heard this, he understood and began to clamor. Clamor means he started making noise in a loud and confused noise, especially of people shouting. So they both started arguing. Me first, you brought me here first, put me to death first, not him. So the disciple said that he has to be put to death first, not the Guru. The Guru and the disciple now got into a fight about who should go first. The king was puzzled by his behavior. He asked the Guru, why do you want to die? We chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake. Now the king noticed that the Guru and the disciple were arguing. Me first, they both were asking, and now the king was amazed, surprised to see why he wanted to die. So he asked the Guru, why you want to die? Because we chose him because he was fat enough to fill the stake. You shouldn't ask me such questions, put me to death first, replied the Guru. So the Guru said, you need not ask such questions, just put me to death first. Why? There is some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand. So the king understood that there is some reason, some mystery behind it which he could not understand. So he asked the Guru to explain to him why he wanted to die first. Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you? Asked the Guru. The king gave him his solemn word. So before revealing this mystery, he asked the king whether if he is ready to tell the truth, but the king has to put him to death first, and he agreed to do so. The Guru took him aside out of the servant's earshot and whispered to him, "Do you know why we want to die right now, the two of us? We have been all over the world, but we have never found a city like this or a king like you." So he praised the king. He told that both of us want to die because there is some reason, some mystery behind it. They have been to the whole world and they never found a kingdom like this and a king, and they never found a city like this and a king like you. And he praised the king and appreciated their work and the kingdom. That stake is the stake of the God of justice. It is new. It has never had a criminal on it. Whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country, and whoever goes next will be the future minister of this country. So he said that stake is a new stake, and it is a stake of God of justice. And as it is new, it has got some power. And those who go to, the one who is executed first, those who killed first on this stake will become the king in the next life. And the second to be executed will be the minister of that kingdom. We are sick of our ascetic life. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves as a king and minister for a while. He said that they are tired or sick of their ascetic life, means saintly life. They are as a sannyasi, they were leading a life and they were tired of it. They are fed up of this ascetic life and now they want to become the king and the minister. Now keep your word, my Lord, and put us to death, me first, Romer. Again, he reminded the king that asked him to put them to death, first the Guru and then the disciple. The king was now thrown into deep thought. He didn't want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next round of life. He needed time. Now the king was in trouble. He started thinking seriously about it, and he thought that in the future, in the next life, he wanted to continue as a king. So what should be done? He did not want to give the possibility to anyone else. So he needed time to think about it. So he ordered the execution postponed to the next day and talked in secret with his minister. It is not right for us to give over the kingdom to others in the next life. Let us go on the stake ourselves and we will be reborn as king and minister again. Holy men do not tell lies, he said, and the minister agreed. Now he asked the executioners to postpone the execution for next day, and he called the minister and said that after all the Guru will not say lie. So what he said must be true. So let us not give our chance of becoming new king and minister of the life after death, the next life. Let us not lose that chance, and let us. So now let us go to stake and let us be executed. So they agreed. So he told the executioners, we will send the criminal tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to death first and do the same to the second man. Those are my orders. Don't make any mistake. So beforehand the king ordered the executioners, told them that they will send the criminals that night. And one who comes first, you have to without making mistake, you have to put him to death first, and who comes second after him. That night, the king and his minister went secretly to the prison, released the Guru and the disciple, disguised themselves as the two, and as arranged beforehand with loyal servants, were taken to the stake and promptly executed. So that night, secretly, the king and the minister went to the prison and released the Guru and the disciple, and they took their place, and they disguised, they changed their dress as Guru and the sannyasi, Guru and the disciple, and they went to, in the night they went to the loyal servant, and they were executed as the royal servants were beforehand prepared to do. They went, and the executioners executed the king and the minister. When the bodies were taken down to be thrown to crows and vultures, the people panicked. They saw before them the dead bodies of the king and the minister. The city was in confusion. So after the execution, the body was taken out to throw it to the crows and the vultures. While they were throwing it, they found that it was the king and the minister, and they were panicked. They were frightened, and the city was in confusion. The people, the kingdom, the people who were in the kingdom, they were confused. All night they mourned and discussed the future of the kingdom. Some people suddenly thought of the Guru and the disciple and caught up with them as they were preparing to leave town unnoticed. So all night they mourned, they were weeping, and then discussed about the future of the kingdom. They had to find a new king and the minister. Then someone suggested that we can ask the Guru and the disciple to be. So they caught them, brought them back, and they were asking, because they were trying to escape the kingdom, from the kingdom unnoticed. So some people, they got hold of them and brought them. We people need a king and a minister, said someone. Others agreed. They begged the Guru and the disciple to be their king and their minister. Now they brought this Guru and the minister and pleaded them to be their king and their minister. It didn't take many arguments to persuade the disciple, but it took longer to persuade the Guru. So it took long, very easily. As soon as they asked, the disciple agreed to stay back and be the minister. But the Guru was not willing. They persuaded, they insisted him. It took a long time to convince him to be the king of that kingdom. They finally agreed to rule the kingdom of the foolish king and the silly minister on the condition that they could change all the old laws. The Guru was not willing to become the king, and they were going on asking him, and finally they convinced them. And both of them agreed on the condition that they should be given the freedom to change the old laws. From then on, night would again be night, and day would again be day, and you could get nothing for it to do. It became like any other place. So as they became the king and minister of that kingdom, they changed the old laws, like the day will be day and the night will be night, and nothing in the kingdom would cost one to do. They changed that to 2 laws, and it became like any other kingdom. So what is the moral of this story? We should not be like fools, like the king and the minister. And it is based on the theme that it requires patience and wisdom to handle people who chose to be foolish. So here the Guru was very wise that he used his wisdom to settle this matter. And the foolish king and the minister were executed. They had to give their life for a greed of power. So students, read the lesson and write down the question answers in your notebook. So thank you students. Have a nice day.